Missouri Tigers end off their season with a win over the Iowa Hawkeyes in the Music City Bowl right here in Nissan Stadium. Joey Van Zummeren, Michael Stamps here from Missouri Tigers on SI to talk about this win. That was a very fitting way for Missouri to walk off on their season. Ends with a fourth down stuff just about 20 yards right behind us here with Corey Flagg stuffing Brennan Sullivan on a quarterback sneak. A showing from Missouri that, again, was a fitting way for their season to end. Offensively, Brady Cook had one of his best games of the season, looked really healthy from that ankle injury, seems to not be bothering him in this one. A lot of wide receivers stepping up. Defensively, made the plays at the right time and was able to get this one done. Michael, just what are your main takeaways from this one here?
Yeah, I mean, Brady Cook. I think, in my opinion, there's no doubt that this was his best game of the season throwing the football. He was right on the money most of the time. Statistically, right, over 300 yards, I believe, or close. So, nothing to complain about there. And just, it's not that deep ball accuracy that you look back at the beginning of the year, people are looking for that deep ball accuracy and that sort of thing. But finding those short routes, and he had to rely on guys, like you mentioned, that were not Theo Weiss and Luther Burden and Brett Norfleet, which is, I think not getting mentioned enough. It's Daniel Blood. It's Marquise Johnson. He found Logan Muckey in the fourth quarter. Not one I expected. So showed a lot of trust and just a lot of throws in the money tonight. Really not much more you can ask for. And then on the ground in the first half, when there was nothing showing, the Iowa secondary really had things locked down. On the ground, he was darn near perfect as well.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, he was almost their entire run game in that first half, like Woods mentioned. And so just a great way for Brady Cook to go out, and I think that's the main thing for this team. They talked about it afterwards, especially Brady Cook and Johnny Walker playing in their last games. And you got to think, I mean, we talked about going into this game, and I wrote a story this morning of just this game really, Drinkwitz called it an exhibition game last night, which is not false at all. But it definitely does mean something for this team, and I think if this team, for this program to show that what they continue to say about the brotherhood to be true, for it to not just be the fact that besides the two guys who have declared for the draft so far, besides those two guys, nobody opting out, for it to be true, to be able to, especially in this fashion, get a win like this. So a lot of legacy they're leaving behind, and again, this season has had so many up and downs for Mizzou. They were close, from that playoff berth. Who knows what happens if they get that stop in South Carolina, but ultimately this team wasn't really quite there. However, I have full confidence that this program is still heading in the right direction after this season. Had some lessons learned from this one, and will continue to go on to have success. Takeaways, just reflecting on the season and where Mizzou is at right now, Michael.
It was really, really fun, right? Yeah. You're not going to find a more fun, entertaining group of football players arguably in the country. Some of the stuff this team endured and situations they were in where they, forced themselves, we have to go win this game. And if we don't, things continue to spiral. And it was SEC game after SEC game after SEC game, obviously minus a few, where it seems like they did the impossible. And every time you thought it couldn't be topped, it quite literally, was, they exceeded themselves. So, it shows a lot about this team, and you want to talk about a brotherhood and just the grit and determination and fight of this football team. I think that has to be the number one takeaway. And you talk about culture, and clearly that's a foundation and a thing that is instilled in all those players, either the ones that are leaving, the young guys, underclassmen who will assume bigger roles next year, and you'd have to hope guys who are coming into the team this year. And Drinkwitz has shown, and that coaching staff has shown their ability to make new players effective right away, and transfers and freshmen and sophomores and things like that. So you hope that guys can come in and fit with the culture first, and then the scheme and play style second next year. But I don't know how much we can hammer home the grit and just determination and willingness to just do whatever it takes to win, because this Missouri team had all that, and it made for incredibly fun and memorable football season.
Right, Blake Craig talked about when he was kicking those 52, 56 yarders right in this range right here, how he had on his mind the seniors and the legs they were leaving behind, how he wanted to make those kicks for him or for them. I don't know how much of that had to do with the fact that Brady Cook and Johnny Walker were sitting just a few feet away from him when he said that, but I absolutely can believe that there is a little bit of that this team realizes its work, that especially that group that went through those 2020, 21, 22 seasons went through to be able to experience moments like this. And I think ultimately that's the main takeaway from this, the fact that, I mean, it is the Music City Bowl. It's not the Cotton Bowl like they reached last year, but it is something that just a few years ago, as Drinkwitz mentioned, when they were in the Gasparilla Bowl, how low they had to feel at that moment. And to be able to get this win over Iowa, another, Big Ten program, it's nothing to snuff at for this team. 10 wins on the season, second straight year with that happening. So that will wrap up the season for the Missouri Tigers. We appreciate you tuning into our coverage at Missouri Tigers on SI all season long, and we appreciate you doing the same throughout this offseason. We'll talk to you later.